That means you, Sheila. Please be quiet. Senator Chris. Chris, I like to work alone. Chris, I like to work alone, please. And what a distinct honor and privilege for me to be here in Kelly's Logan House, the house that John D., Mary Ann, Mike, and now Patrick and Joanna have built. So I am, there's a Yiddish word, I am gevelling right now. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm gevelling with pride. And, you know, I got to brag here. My niece, Joanna Kelly, has a pedigree that looks like C.S. Lewis, and she decided to take the high road. She's a public defender in Philadelphia. Now she's going to be, well, I don't want to spill the beans, Joe, can I? Yeah. Federal public defender, Joanna, who is, I won't say Chrissy's a great lawyer. She's got me out of 3 DUIs the last 2 years, just 3. She's so good, you know, 4 years ago I broke a mirror. Supposed to get 7 years bad luck. She got it down to 3. So Joanna, you are your father's daughter. She does not like to lose. So anyone needs a public defender, federal, I know we got that racketeering thing, Mike, going on, so you can see JoJo after the show, okay? And my nephew, Patrick, don't stand up, Pat will hit his head. Talk about genius. This kid is a math teacher at Tower Hill. Chris, tell him about Tower Hill. I mean, the median SAT scores at Tower Hill are like my weight, which is expanding. By the way, my six-pack has become a keg. I have stretch marks on my teeth. And my wife this year for Father's Day said, what do you want for Father's Day? I said, I want something that's silver and shiny, goes from 0 to 210 in 4 seconds. She got me a bathroom scale. But Patrick is a math teacher at Tower Hill. I mean, Chris Coons was high honors at Tower Hill. And the only problem was I wasn't in his class, otherwise I would have copied off him. So this is the wonderful Logan House, and I want to recognize some dignitaries before we get on to the real program. And I want to thank, first of all, Morgan, thank you for doing this tonight. I still get 5% of the proceeds. Okay, that's my door charge. Where's Sarah Love Rawlings, our lobbyist, who could get money from Mother Teresa? I don't know how she does it. And Craig Syracuse, where's Craig? These guys, we're here about the military. That's why we're here tonight. We're here to support our military. And this is why we're honoring Chris, because Chris has stepped up in short order. We also have Rob Hunter, who is, talk about Irish passion. Rob, his father was born in Ireland. This place, Logan House, is in your DNA, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is. He had a cousin who worked at the Guinness Brewery. It was Patrick. And one day Patrick had a misadventure. He fell and tripped and he drowned. And the foreman said, Mrs. Hunter, I got some bad news. Your husband, Patrick, he slipped and fell and he drowned. He said, oh my God, in heaven. Did he have anything to say before he died? He says, no, but he got up to pee 3 times. These are known as jokes, ladies and gentlemen. Mike, I get better. This is not my real job, okay? Next is my boss, Kevin Mahoney, and his lovely daughter, Pam. Kevin's the CEO of Penn, who, I tell you, folks, I have never been happier working at University of Pennsylvania. It is like dream come true, the research culture. My twin brother, Mike, went to Sloan Kettering and said, we can't help you. He went to Penn, and by the grace of God, and Doug Fraker and Mark O'Hara, they gave 4.5 years. So I will never, ever forget University of Pennsylvania in my life. I married a Penn nurse, Marie, who's not here. She's getting ready for our, we're visiting our grandson tomorrow, John Declan. She's packing for me, okay, right now. But Kevin Mahoney is so Irish.
How Irish is he?
His first breath was a .2. He had a cousin, Patrick, who broke his femur. And Kevin went to visit him last week at the Penn. And Kevin said, how you doing, Patrick? He goes, what did you say? Kevin said, how you doing, Patrick? He said, what did you say? And so Kevin said, Patrick, are you hard to hear? And he goes, Kevin, I've been in this bed for 3 days without a drink, and your breath is like a breeze from heaven. All right, Kevin, how am I doing so far? Should I quit my day job? All right. So, you know, you guys make fun of the Irish, but you know, the Irish, we invented the toilet seat. And 4 years later, an Italian put a hole in it. Speaking of the Irish mob, the Murphia, we got my brother from another mother, Kevin Riley, former special teams captain of the Eagles. Let's hear it for Kevin. And Kevin was a wedge buster. And Kevin, I know you still got it, but my wife said to me, you know, John, where's Brendan O'Neill? Brendan was a wonderful running back for Dartmouth. Look at this guy. And Liz Carney, his lovely bride, who had a crush on her in high school. Don't tell Marie this, JoJo, please. So, but how you doing with the memory department, Brendan? Yeah, you forgot. Well, I have half-Heimers. I'm halfway to Alzheimer's, okay? I have actually Irish Alzheimer's. I forget everything but a grudge. So, Kevin, I've been losing my memory. I took some shots. You know that. And Marie says to me, why don't you start doing jigsaw puzzles? So I did a jigsaw puzzle. And the other day, I'm slapping myself and go, man, 28 days. She said, what are you so happy? I said, I just did this jigsaw puzzle in 28 days. She said, well, what's the big deal? I said, the box says 2 to 4 years. How are we doing, Liz? All right. Liz Carney is the famous Carney. Her brother Mike and I worked out there. Was a Maryland football player. John was an All-Ivy, the governor, and now the mayor. All-Ivy defensive back. Just a wonderful family. Can I tell them the story? Dad was in seminary. Mom was in the convent. You never meet a better family than the Carneys. You never. Kelly's come close. Kelly's come close. We got my friend Rob Stoller here, who's a video photographer. So Robbie, he's going to do a video on the book, the life story of the Polish war heroes. It's all 30 seconds. Remember Robbie doing that? I had to get the Polish joke. My wife's Polish. She's a genius, but did you guys read the article in the paper? The Polish astronauts who taking a spaceship to the sun. Did you read that, Chris? Yeah. So the Americans said, "You guys can't do this," and the Polish astronauts said, "No. You understand? We're going to leave at night." We have Irish Mike Coons, who's going to be a doctor. He's at Colorado University, and he's out in Boulder. Mark, what's the most commonly used word in Boulder? Do you know, Chris? Ear. Ear. So, Mike, you can become like me, an orthopedic psychiatrist. I'm a bonehead. We have with us Rabiel Chowdhury, who's got more, his social media contacts looks like the Bronx phone book. And Rabiel, so just stand up there, just raise your hand, there you go. Rabiel is part of the Islamic Aid Initiative, and during COVID, he goes, I think we need some comic relief. So he gives me this gig. I looked at a monitor for like an hour. All I did was tell jokes. And I said, how would you do? He goes, oh, you had 250,000 hits. 250,000 hits! Oh, one of them laughed. We have a couple distinguished guests. We have Bud Roth here, who is a classmate of Chris. What was the year difference? How many years apart? Oh, Chris is too humble. Come on. So Rob is a black belt in judo, all right? And he said the only person he's afraid of is his mother-in-law. But anyway, he's fluent Japanese. Rob, did I tell you I used to be a bouncer at a sushi bar? These are known as jokes, ladies and gentlemen. This is a tough crowd. So, Rob Roth, his son is an anesthesiologist who trained with my son-in-law. He's a wonderful, wonderful doctor. He gives me all the propofol I want. I'm just kidding. And his other son, where did Charlie go? Charlie, let's give her Charlie. U.S. Marine Corps. Let's go. Let's get him with Charlie. Woo. He's a war hero. He saved the whole regiment. He shot the cook. We have with us Vic Hawkins, his lovely bride Sheila. Vic Hawkins, how many years did Dad serve, Vic? 22. And he was a European theater, wasn't he? God bless him. And Sheila's father was in the Air Force, right, Sheila? Isn't that amazing? This is about the military. That's why we're here tonight. So a couple people I want to just announce here. Let me see. Where's my lovely sister-in-law, Deanna? Where did she go? All right, there she is, Deanna. So Deanna Kelly is up for sainthood. Anyone who can live with Mike Kelly for 30 plus years is canonized material, okay? We have Irish Mike Riley. Here, Mike, there you go, Mike. Mike Riley comes from a very, very Catholic parish, St. Anne's. and we had a Father Mulcahy there, and I'm not trying to make this a contentious night, but Chris is part Welsh, part English, and Irish. But the Irish, we had this little thing with the English going on, remember that? Yeah. So Father Mulcahy said, Father Mulcahy would always, Mike, put these shots against the English. The weather, the English's fault, the stock market. So finally the bishop said to him, you got to stop this. We're all God's children. This is the ecumenical year. Okay, he says. So then next week he had a sermon. He said, today I'd like to talk about the Last Supper. When our Lord looked at his disciples and said, one of you is about to betray me. He looked at Matthew. Matthew said, not I, Lord. He looked at John, and John said, I love you, Jesus. He took one hard look at Judas, and Judas said, oh, blimey, governor, you can't mean me. You like that one? All right, so I was raised a block away. This was a tough neighborhood. No doubt about it. This is 40 acres. This is the epicenter is St. Anne's Church. A close second to Logan House. Any 40 acres residents here? Raise your hand. So this was a tough neighborhood. There you go, Rob. So this neighborhood was so tough. We used to, my friends would hold fireworks in their hands, let them off. Let me see, there was Lefty, One Eye, Two Finger. Remember those guys? Remember those guys here, Pat? And if you saw a cat with a tail on, you know from out of town. We were so tough, Kevin. We used to celebrate a birthday 6 months in advance, just in case we didn't make it. Wow. And then we all went to St. Anne's, right? And we were poor. We were really poor.
How poor were you?
We had wall-to-wall earth. My parents couldn't afford to have me, so the lady next door had me. We used to get care packages from the Waltons. No one watches the Waltons anymore, but Craig, that was a show. We were so poor. Well, I don't want to say that's a little off color. I want to say that one. Anyway, so I went to St. Anne's, and St. Anne's is like 3 blocks away. And you don't understand, this is all true, but we were kind of poor growing up. So I would come home for lunch, the parochial school model. Any Catholics in recovery in the room here? Raise your hand. Liz, okay. All right. So we would go to St. Anne's, and then the bell would ring at noon. We'd come home for lunch. Well, lunch for me was at the Logan House, because my mom, grandma, who remembers my mom? Kelly, Patrick, JoJo, all these guys here, Troy. Oh my gosh, Troy Silliman. This is like, this guy and I went to grade school together, college together. There's no finer man than Troy Silliman right there. There's no finer man. Troy Silliman was a lawyer for Uncle Doopy, and he was involved in a lot of big cases. Remember Rayon sued Nylon? Remember that, Troy? Remember that? And remember the Teflon litigation? That was pretty sticky, wasn't it? Or was it non-sticky? I'm sorry. Non-sticky, okay. But Troy Silliman, he was a Brendan tackle, offensive tackle. Troy, how many years in steroids ago was that? Many. So where was I? So anyway, we'd come home, parochial school, and I had lunch at the Logan House. And this is back in the 60s where people were smoking. So I'd go back to St. Anne's, and the nun, Sister Mike Tyson, you smoking again, Kelly? No, I just went to the Logan House for lunch. Sure, boom. So I never forget those days. I had Sister Mike Tyson, 1st grade, Sister Rocky Marciano, 2nd grade, and then Sister Larry Holmes, 3rd grade. So back then, Catholics in recovery. What was your parish, Liz, growing up?
Holy Rosary.
Holy Rosary. What order was that?
St. Joseph's.
Well, they were a Catholic light. I had the Franciscan nuns, man. My nuns had PhDs in pain. Back then, but time out was when you were out. So every year, Sister Rocky Marcel would put while I was talking, she put my finger in a socket and tell me I was grounded. Wait, Chris, she was current. And my parents would say, show me your marks. I'd say, you want to see my marks? Here's my marks. And, and then we had the whole confession thing. How many people here went to confession as a kid? So when we were kids, we had the same sins. We really did. We would go like in bulk. Remember the bulk confessions, 2nd grade, all go to confession. So one year we told the same sins. Remember one year I said, bless your Father, I've sinned. I threw rocks at the truck, kicked the garbage can, threw peanuts off the roof. And that kid comes in and said, bless your Father, I've sinned. I threw rocks at the truck, kicked the garbage can, threw peanuts off the roof. Finally, all this keeps going on. Finally, this one kid comes in and says, bless me, Father, I've sinned. I threw rocks at the truck, kicked the garbage can. The priest said, didn't you throw peanuts off the roof? And the kid said, I'm peanuts. So Mike and I would have a contest who would go to confession first. So one year, I go in first, and Mike says, you go first, because John, I think you've been acting that way. So I went in when I said, bless you, Father, I've sinned. I've had improper relations with a young woman. And the priest said, Was it Susie O'Reilly? I said, no, Father. He says, was it Mary Callahan? I said, no, Father. Was it Maura Cunningham? I said, no, Father. He goes, get out of here. You're expelled for 2 weeks. I came out of the confession. My brother said, how'd you make out? I said, I did pretty good. I got 2 weeks of vacation and 3 good leads.
Yes.
True story. So, Chris, you know, I'm getting older now, and this is the twilight of my career. And I won't tell you I'm old, but my social security number is 7. Robbie, I was a waiter at the Last Supper. My prostate is the size of Ellesmere. Vic, I pee in Morse code. I went to Penn last week for my urologist, and I see a guy in the waiting room, and he says, I don't want to make fun of people's defects, but he was stuttering. He said, what's wrong with you? I said, I got a prostate problem. He goes, what's prostate problem? I said, I pee like you talk. This is Mike Axe, Bucknell, Hall of Fame football player. And I got to tell you a story about Mike Axe. We had a fundraiser here 4 years ago when my brother died. My brother was a big civil rights advocate. And the ORAF, Orthopedic Research Education Foundation, we have a scholarship dedicated to underserved orthopedic surgeons, minorities, and women. We raised, well, I tell you the story, that's short order, several thousands of dollars for Mike and for Mike Axe. Mike Axe is a beloved, he's a master surgeon. And at the end of the night, Mike Axe looked at me and says, you know the money they raised for me? Give it to Mike. So now we have the Michael B. Kelly Leadership Fellowship for women and underserved in orthopedic surgery for leadership. Thanks to Michael Axe. So I'm getting a little emotional here, and then I'm going to start with the guest of honor here, but I have to read this because his accolades are just unbelievable. You know, Chris Coons and I went to the same school, and I was not nearly as bright as Chris. Chris was in high honors at Tower Hill. You know, I was on high probation. Do you remember Miss Minnick? We had a, you know, I would do impressions, and one year she threw me out of the library. She said, Mr. Kelly, you get out of here. I don't want to make fun of her personal effects, but I won't say she had buck teeth, but she could have sandwiched through Venetian blinds. So she said, Mr. Kelly, get out of the library. You're not coming back for 3 weeks. So my parents said, why'd you get a D? So I can't go to the library. Will you give me a break, will you? So Chris is a special guy. And no.
That's enough.
No, Chris, you deserve this. This night's about you. He is raised in Hockessin, and he's a Presbyterian. Everybody know what a Presbyterian is, bud? That's a Catholic who flunked Latin, Annie, okay? So get that. And Tower Hill High Honors. And he was a football running back. And he was tough. And he played dirty too, just by the way. He went to Amherst College. All right, that's a little more than community college, okay, folks? He majored in chemistry and political science, and his senior thesis was the effects of alcohol on trial lawyer performance. I have to read this. He was a Truman Scholarship awardee at Amherst. I mean, I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty impressive. After college, he worked as a relief worker in Kenya for the National Coalition for the Homeless. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy's the real deal. He went back to school, earned his JD and Master's in Divinity, Sheila, Divinity, at that New Haven Community College, otherwise known as Yale. As a law student, he founded the Delaware chapter of the National I Have a Dream Foundation, which helps low-income students make the academic journey from elementary school to college. While working with the organization's national office, he launched and ran the I Have a Dream Foundation's AmeriCorps program, which helped recruit and train volunteers to mentor students in 15 cities, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting emotional now because Bud Roth's dad and my dad were good buddies, but he clerked under Bud's mom, the revered Judge Jane Richards Ross. He's also worked for several nonprofits, including the Coalition for the Homeless. This is up Joanna's alley. The education-oriented I Have a Dream Foundation, and he's a man of faith. He's a key organizer of the Senate Prayer Breakfast and the National Prayer Breakfast. And reminds me, Andy, the other day I went to a viewing for a guy who was an atheist. And I felt bad, Bobby. This guy was all dressed up, nowhere to go. He's generous with his time and his talents. And I got to share with you just two things. Throw this notes away. About 7 years ago, we have a leadership curriculum at Penn, and Kevin spoke in there. And I asked Chris, "Would you mind coming up, just giving our residents a talk?" And he, of course, didn't charge me a dime. Did not charge me a dime. So why are we here tonight? We're here tonight because my dad was a combat vet, was a World War II Marine vet. Sheila's dad. Look at the audience here. Kevin's father was a Marine Corps. His son is in Special Forces, Fort Bragg. We got a Marine right here. Any other veterans, please raise their hand. Thank you. And where'd you serve, sir?
82nd Airborne.
God bless you. God bless you. What I want to tell you tonight is that in peacetime, our combat warriors need orthopedic surgeons. The peacetime injuries are torn ACLs, rotator cuff, shoulder instability. So Rob Hunter, my dear friend here, 10 years ago recognized the need that our military surgeons are great at amputations, they're great at blast injuries, they're great at limb saving surgery, prostheses, all those things, but they're really grossly underprepared to fix an ACL. He saw this need and said, we got to fix this problem. Rob Hunter and Sarah Love went to Capitol Hill and said, we're going to lobby to get our soldiers, our military doctors, the ability to train other doctors so they can fix these peacetime injuries for combat readiness. There was 23,000 arthroscopies done in the military last year. 23,000, think about that. And our surgeons are woefully unprepared because they can take off a limb, God forbid, they can save a limb, they can put a next fix, they can fix a femur, but they can't fix an ACL. So, the Military Advanced Surgical Training Program is federally funded. We have Congressman Quigley, he went off committee, and Rob and I talked, and we both, and Sarah Loves and Craig Syracuse said, we need a champion. We need a champion. So last summer, Chris remembers this, I went down to his office, he was kind enough to have me in, and Morgan arranged that, and I asked him, I said, Chris, we need a champion. And he looked me in the eye, didn't even blink, said, I'm your guy. I'm your guy. So last year, I'm getting choked up about this. We raised $5 million. We're hopeful to get $10 million. But in 1 month, all of the master surgeons like Rob Hunter in the country are going to Rosemont, Chicago, and training the military surgeons. They fly into Rosemont. We have master surgeons like Rob and others, and we sit down with a cadaver. We train our military surgeons for 1 weekend. Since my dad was a Marine, I'm in this. I go every year. I spend a week at a different military base. I was in Balboa. I was in Madigan, Charlie. I was in, last year, I was in Walter Reed. I spent a week of my time training orthopedic surgeons. And then we have a Lieutenant Colonel Travis Decker who's completing a study next month looking at how we can better fix shoulder instability in our warriors. This is our massed dollars at work. And I'm going to tell you one more story. 2008, Richard Schaefer, Colonel U.S. Army, said, Kel, why don't you come down and give a shoulder talk down at Bethesda? I went down to Bethesda. And he said, you're a guest speaker. I said, okay, yeah. I said, I want to give you the tour. I want to show you the amputee clinic. This is the height of Afghanistan and Iraq, the combination when we transitioned. He took me to the amputee clinic. There was 2 football fields of amputees on shorties. Anybody know what a shorty is? When you get above in the amputation, you have to wear a stump until you get a prosthesis. I looked at these soldiers and I said before God, I said, I'm going to spend every waking breath in my life helping these guys. I owe my life to God, but also my dad, the Marine Corps, the values he taught us, Mike and me and Mary. Do the right thing. Honor is above everything. Your honor is more important than your life. I owe my life to the military. And this guy stepped up for us when he didn't have to. He didn't have to. And I just wanted to thank you all for coming and pull out your pocketbooks, because our wounded warriors are at stake. They are grossly Rob and I go to these courses. Some of these guys can't even get into a shoulder. They can't even do it. We need your help. We need to continue the mission of training our military surgeons. But Chris, I got to tell you, man, there's an old expression: leadership's who you are. There's no finer man than this guy here. He builds bridges. Pete Dawkins. Anybody know who Pete Dawkins is? Brendan. He was a Heisman Trophy winner for Army. I went to a conference once and he said, leadership is who you are. Kevin Mahoney's a great guy. He's a great leader because he's a great person. You cannot be a good leader without being a good person. Chris Coons is one of the kindest, considerate, and honorable people who've walked the planet. And I'm asking you to dig deep for our warriors, because believe me, and Rob can talk to you more about this after the show, but peacetime, combat readiness, it's really sports medicine. Our warriors need you. So Chris, I can't thank you enough. Can you say a couple words for me, please? And pull out your pocketbooks. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do tonight. I've already given money. I'm going to give an extra $1,000. I'll just do some unnecessary surgeries to pay for it. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, John. Folks, can you